are two ways to do something new. Go in inexperienced or go in with the experience of those who have gone ahead of you. It is advisable to go in riding on the shoulders of those who have gone ahead of you. On this platform, we introduce you to practicing professionals who will guide you in the choice of a career. This is Catch Them Young, and I am your host, Praise Shogbade. This is Divine TV, where we enrich souls through the gospel of Christ. Today in the studio, we have an insurance manager who will be talking to us about his profession, all that it entails, the challenges, the career opportunities, as well as the prospects in this profession. His name is Adeolu Ajao. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Praise. It's a great honor to be here. And
You're welcome.
Yeah. Basically, I'll be speaking on the profession itself.
Okay.
How I happened to get into the position, and well, a little bit of the challenges I faced.
Yeah.
And
all of it, we will be drawing from your stream of knowledge today. All of it. We're glad to have you
thank
on
you
the
very
show.
much.
Thank you
very
for being
much.
here. All right, let's start with a description of what your profession is all about. Insurance management is not something that a lot of teenagers understand, so help us break it down in the simplest term possible.
Okay, yeah, so I would say that my exact position actually is an underwriting and claim specialist. So let me break it down. If you asked me some 8 years ago if I wanted to be in the insurance industry, I'll have said, no, because I studied sciences.
Okay.
I am a graduate of microbiology from Redeemers University.
Okay.
I mean, I was all about pursuing this till I got out of the university, and I actually practiced for about 2 years. And
you practiced microbiology?
Yes, microbiology for about 2 years. And then I thought to myself, I've always been a financial person. I've always been a finance enthusiast. I've always liked doing business. I've always liked doing money. I've always liked to do calculations and all of that. But somehow I found myself in sciences and I kept pushing. But I did this for about 2 years and I said to myself, I don't want to continue doing this.
Okay.
And then I realized that, I mean, there are graduate trainee opportunities. There are ways I could break into the financial sphere without necessarily studying this particular course. So gradually, I started shifting my focus to this direction. And luckily for me, after putting so much effort, I was able to find one of the top 3 insurance companies in Nigeria.
You know, we are going to get into your journey fully. You are going to talk to us about your journey so far, how you were able to go into it despite studying microbiology. But I'd love you to still tell us more about what really is this profession about, because we are talking to teenagers and young adults, some of whom are yet to choose a career path, and the way you explain it will determine if they want to do it, or don't you want more people in your profession?
Oh, well, okay, yes. It would be great to have more people in the industry, actually, because it's a growing industry. And so basically what I do as an underwriting and claim specialist is basically for every business, for every transaction, for everything we do around here, there's a risk of something bad actually happening. So for example, for every time you put your vehicle on the road, there's a risk that your vehicle might have an accident. So now what an underwriting and claim specialist does is that he assesses this risk. It takes this business. So for example, you pay a premium, a very small amount, such that the company bears responsibility if there is a damage. So what I do as a professional is that I assess each and every risk that comes into the company's books. I determine the rates at which this risk should come in. I determine the premium that should be paid, and then I assess the profitability. Obviously, no matter how we look at it, yes, the insurance industry is all about paying claims and making people, taking off the burden. But the truth is that each company must still make profits. So this is my function, actually, to save the businesses that come into the company. And before you can do this, actually, you need to be very thorough. You need to be very meticulous. You need to understand the basics. I actually went through all this. I didn't study this in school, but I learned this on the job and all of that. I took courses and all of that.
So we are going to get into that now. What were the steps that you took to become an insurance manager? What were the processes that you went through despite the fact that you studied? It may have been difficult for you because you didn't start studying it from. So what were the steps that you went through?
Okay, well, the first thing was in fact, I really burned the midnight oil. In fact, I thought I've been reading in school. I didn't know that I have not started anything. So, I mean, the courses were technical. I enrolled for the professional course, actually. So the industry has its own professional course. It's the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIN, as popularly called. So I enrolled. I started from the basics.
Okay.
Yes, so, and there are about 3 levels. So you need to, pass each paper and become chartered. So I took this very seriously. I combined this with my on-job experience while I was working. At the same time, I was learning. I was studying. I was going for tutorials. I was doing online courses and all of that till I wrote the exam. In record time. I actually finished the exam in record time. That was 2 years. Ordinarily, it's expected that the exam is completed in about 4 years, 5 years, and all of that. So I was able to in fact, I am still motivated, but I remember then, I just finished my final papers. That was the last diet, that was in October last year.
Okay.
But the truth is that it made me realize that, if you set your mind to something, if you are really driven, it is easy. I just had the motivation. I just needed to keep reading. I just needed to, of course, despite the motivation, I failed one paper, but it's still, I still took the paper again and I had a distinction. So it really helped me to pass through the stage of being chartered, and there's some sort of respect you gain when you become chartered. Everybody wants to.
There's
you
pride
understand?
in it.
Exactly.
I'm a chartered accountant.
Exactly.
I'm a chartered insurance manager.
Exactly.
Wow.
So the majority of the effort was put into being chartered, actually.
Okay.
And then my on-job experience, several times I would even have to stay back and learn from the experienced hands and all of that till I got to the level of being promoted and all of that. So,
okay, let's still talk about you for a moment. You mentioned that you had always loved finance, you were always interested in it, but why did you still go for microbiology? Were there influences, were there things that influenced your decision?
Well, yes, and it will be very beautiful to share that story because ordinarily I wasn't supposed to be in science class, actually.
Okay.
So I would have, I preferred to be in commercial or arts. If I remember growing up, I wanted to be a lawyer, actually. And as I was aging and all of that, I just realized I was more into businesses, finance, and all of that. But still, well, the influence of my parents pushed me to remain in sciences. Because, there's this growing notion that, if you're in science, you'll be a medical doctor, you'll be an engineer, and all of that. So, I was pushed to remain in sciences. But ideally, I knew in the deepest of my heart that I didn't want to be there, actually.
But you excelled in it.
I excelled, yes, I excelled.
For your parents.
Exactly, I excelled for them. I followed through, I was diligent, and I finished with a 2-1, actually, so close to having a first class in microbiology. But in the end, I don't count it as a waste of effort.
Okay.
Because in the end, it's built my sense of reasoning. You cannot sit down with me and have discussion with me on medicine, the laboratory,
so it's not a waste.
you understand? Yeah. So I'm happy that I was able to still rack up that knowledge and then pursue exactly what I wanted to do. So,
all right, we're still going to talk about parental influence because this is one interesting topic for teenagers watching us right now. We're going to talk about parental influence, but right now we'll be going on a short break. When we're back, we will continue on our discuss. Stay with us. Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ. Welcome back. This is still Catch Them Young live on Divine TV, where we enrich souls through the gospel of Christ. And I am still your host, Praise Shogbade. In the studio, we still have Mr. Adeolu Ajao speaking to us about insurance management and what it's about. So welcome back once again. All right, before we went on a break, you talked about the fact that your parents influenced your going into science class. Now, I would want you to talk to the youngsters out there who are struggling with, your parents influenced that and you went in line with them.
Yeah.
There are some teenagers who feel like, okay, the best way to deal with this is to rebel against my parents. What advice would you give to parents? Would you give to teenagers? We are going to talk about, your advice to parents. But what advice would you give to teenagers first who are struggling with their decision and what their parents want for them?
Okay. Thank you very much, Praise. So the advice is pretty straightforward, actually. There is no way you would, I mean, if you look at anybody in secondary school, I mean, the person is probably not up to 20 years old. Okay. There is no way you would be under your parents' roof. So first of all, it's best to believe that our parents want the best for us. Yeah. But if you look at it, there's some sort of generational gap. There's a way the last generation think. There's a way, if you look at it, there's a way this new generation after us think. It's a bit different. But irrespective of what you may be thinking in your mind at that age, at that point, it's best to always go with what your parents have advised you. Because if you look at it, you don't even have the resources. Okay. So for example, I want to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a lawyer. Would I rather run away from my house? Would I rather be on the streets? Would I rather join a cult, or would I rather join a different group entirely? So irrespective, although you may have something you want to do, it doesn't mean you should push it off. I mean, it doesn't mean you should push it away. It's best you still remain under the guidance and tutelage of your parents. How about
persuading your parents?
Well, it's not a bad thing, because for me, so I will just speak based on experience. Yeah. But for me, I tried it. It didn't work. I didn't want to push it beyond what they had stated. So it was best to, okay, let me do this, but let me gradually pursue what I want to do. You understand? So for me, I just advise the young people out there that no matter how it may sound, it is best to still think within the way your parents or your guardians want you to be. It may be also right to approach a counselor, because sometimes you may not be able to push these things out to your parents, but you may have an elderly person or a counselor that may sit down with your parents. I believe that if I had done that, it may have worked, actually. Okay. If I had done that, it may have worked. If you have elder siblings, if you have elder brothers that can speak to your parents on your behalf. If, for example, I remember in church, there was a woman that walked up to me and said, Diolu, I don't know what to do anymore. This my son just wants to be pressing laptop. He sees coding. And the moment she said it, I said, Mommy, there's money in that, If that is your son's passion, although he's supposed to be in school, or he's still in school, let him, although you may need to supervise him, you need to guide him, but please support him, because by the time he's 18, 19, I start giving her stories of people that by 18, they are already feeding their parents and all of that from what they are doing. So sometimes it's good to also escalate to someone that is elderly that can speak to your parents on your behalf. So I believe all that should work.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, I still want you to speak from your experience to parents. What advice would you give to parents who want to force a particular career path on their children?
Okay, so I'd advise parents out there to always give room for their kids or for the younger ones to express themselves. Okay. I mean, we're in a world where it is happening before us. We're in a world where young people are doing great things. We're in the world of technology. We're in the world of total IT development, where young people are just staying at home from the comfort of their home, developing apps, working for multinationals at very young ages. So for me, I would advise parents to always lend an ear to their children or to the younger ones. What I'll do, like I always say this everywhere. My children would actually have the opportunity to, be creative. I would really give room for, you want to become a footballer, enroll to an academy. There are ways to do all these things. Okay. If you want to be a creative person, there are ways to do these things. So it's no longer a case of where, you study mathematics, English, do geography, you understand all those kind of things. So the world is evolving. So I would really, although we need to not take away the point of supervision, because at the point of have this gadget and do all these things, there are other things that can come around also. So with strict supervision, let the young people express themselves, let them be creative, so that you never can tell.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, now I would love you to talk about the skills required to study this as a profession. Okay, let's talk about, what do you have to study to practice as an insurance manager?
Okay, so from the point of academics, you need to study insurance. It could be banking and finance, it could be banking and insurance, however you want to do it. That's what you're supposed to study. But from experience, it doesn't determine that you'd actually work there. For example, I studied sciences and I'm working in an insurance industry. I'm enjoying it, you understand? So what it actually requires is dedication, basically. You just need to be dedicated. It doesn't require extra skills. It doesn't require special skills. All you just need is your willingness to learn and your passion for it. That's all.
Thank you very much for enlightening us on that. I would like to ask you, what are the career opportunities in this profession? So if I study insurance, what will I do? Am I just going to be an insurance manager? What are the various career opportunities?
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. That's a very wonderful question. Yeah, because if you're encouraging people to come into this particular industry or field, they need to know what they stand to do and what they stand to gain. So I'll just say that it's actually broken into 3 major groups. The first is from the point of underwriting. Like I explained earlier, that underwriting is basically examining risks before they come into a company and determining the amount that the person should pay before you bring in the risk to the company. So there are people that have actually remained in that particular field for years, and there are big names now in the insurance industry. So as an underwriting officer or underwriting manager, all you do there is review new businesses, review renewals, and all of that. Although it could be very tasking because of the peculiarity of each person, each business, and all of that. Another thing that someone in the insurance industry would expect to do is to pay claims. The insurance industry is all about paying claims. Why am I insuring my vehicle when there is a loss? Okay. You do not pay claims. So now, who are the people that pay claims? They are called the claim specialists. So these people are tasked with reviewing claims, ensuring they are not fraudulent, looking through the documentations and all of that.
What do you mean by claims exactly?
Okay, so claims is, for example, I insure my vehicle with you as an insurance company, Praise Insurance Company.
All right.
And
sounds
now,
nice.
Okay, and now there's a loss, there's a damage. There's a bus that hit my car, hit my bumper, or broke my light and all of that. Now, the purpose of insurance is that when something bad happens to my vehicle, your company would pay clearly or repair my vehicle, however you want to do it. So now the claims manager or the claims specialist is someone that his sole function is to, first of all, sympathize with the clients. Ask how they can help the client. For some companies, they may even need to send out a convenience vehicle to them in the meantime while the vehicle is being repaired. You are also, so basically you have to also ensure customer service is done properly, and then pay the client, follow the due process, negotiate with the garage, make the payments, and let the client restore the vehicle back to its position. Simple.
Thank you very much for enlightening us on that. We are going to discuss the challenges you have faced so far and the challenges that those coming into the profession will definitely face, so that they know what they're getting into. But before that, we'll go on a quick break, after which we will come back to continue with our discuss. Stay with us.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
Welcome back. This is still Catch Them Young live on Divine TV, where we enrich souls through the gospel of Christ. Still in the studio, I have Adeolu Ajao, an insurance manager, speaking to us on his profession. Before we went on a break, we were discussing about the career opportunities in insurance management, and right now we're talking about the challenges. So, sir, what are the challenges that you face, the challenges you have faced, and the ones that others coming in are bound to face? You know, there are some challenges that are peculiar to each person. You face it because of, probably because of your background, probably because of, I'm sure that you face some challenges because you didn't study insurance in the university. So those coming in who will study insurance won't necessarily face it. So just tell us about the ones that were peculiar to you and the ones that are also peculiar to the profession.
Okay, yes, thank you very much once
You're
again,
welcome.
Praise. So speaking about challenges, I like how you actually divided it. It's like you read my mind, because challenges are, I mean, they're relative. So something that's challenging to me may not be challenging to another. But on a broad scope, for me personally, I would say that some of the challenges I faced, majority of the time, was at the point of getting chartered. So it requires a whole lot of hard work and dedication. I mean, sometimes when I just say it freely, like, oh, you got chartered in 2 years and all of that, people that have written these exams actually are always very surprised, because it is very, very tasking. You need to be on your A game. I mean, if you've not been reading before, especially if you are not coming from the field.
Yeah,
if you were in the
more
field,
work for
you understand. If you were in the field before, even people that are in the field are still writing the exams. So if you really want to go for it, you need to, I mean, stay up. You need to combine work and also read a lot. You need to go for tutorials and all of that. The period of writing the exam was challenging. I dropped a lot of things I would usually do in the weekend and all of that. So just because I needed to close this thing and all of that. So people may try to paint it as easy, but really it's not easy. You really need to focus. So it could be very, very challenging. Now for the industry, if you go out and do a survey and just ask around and say, do you think insurance companies in Nigeria pay? I can bet that 50% of them would say no. So that is a challenge on its own.
Is it a misconception? It
is a misconception. However, I would say that in time past, there has been a problem with regulation.
Okay.
So there have been companies that have, I mean, made people experience this, that were not properly regulated. You understand? So this has put a smear on the industry itself. But luckily for us now, it is properly regulated now. The players that have been fringed before have been cut off. So if you are actually carrying a valid insurance license or certificate, you can be sure that when there is a claim, your company will pay you, provided everything is in line with the terms. So the industry itself is a challenge. Let me just put it in black and white.
The industry is you accepting the challenge.
Understand.
Okay.
So what do you need to do, or what have I been doing? I mean, the slightest opportunity I get, I try to enlighten people. That was one of the reasons why I took up the opportunity to be here, and I really appreciate that. Enlightening people. I mean, even before I got into the industry, I was seeing it that way, but I am very inquisitive, and I have seen people excel. I've seen people that are now big names in this, and I'm like, what are you people saying? I mean, if people can excel, there must be something. I got into the industry, and I found out that it's a different thing entirely. We pay claims every single day, back to back, and all those things. So, but if you even look at it outside Nigeria, other countries, you'd have the insurance companies being the major players, the banks actually just following suit. But although in Nigeria the reverse is the case, you have the banks as the major financial institutions while the insurance companies follow suit. However, if you look at if you look at the recent projections from the previous years, the industry keeps growing. So despite these challenges, I would still advise, I would obviously advise people to make all efforts to get into it. Shrug off the negative, the negative, exactly. The moment you get inside it, it's rosy. There are people that have been enjoying insurance all their lives, and trust me,
it's easier to criticize something from the outside,
exactly.
But when you get in, you really know what so thank you very much for telling us the challenges. The reason why I asked for the challenges is because I don't want us to just sugarcoat the profession,
of course,
such that everybody wants to do it. It's best to know what you are getting into.
Exactly.
It's best to know the challenges in the profession, so you really know that, okay, if I'm doing this, I'm aware of the challenges, but I'm still going to go for it. So thank you very much. Right now, I want you to pitch for your career. Now, what I want you to do here is to tell us what the world would be like without insurance managers. Tell us how important your profession is. Tell us what the society will be without it. Tell us the significance of your profession. Why insurance?
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Praise. Apart from the fact that the insurance industry itself is lucrative, if you are in the industry and if you are doing very well for yourself and you are rising across the ranks, or you yourself stand to get remunerated very well. Now, the insurance industry plays a very huge role. Like I said earlier, outside this country or outside Nigeria, if you go to developed countries, you see the insurance companies are the major players in the financial markets. They are the ones racking the profit. They are the ones that control the financial sphere. Now, the reason is because for life itself, is a risk. Life itself is a risk. Now, the moment you understand the importance of insurance, you know that even waking up, sleeping and waking up itself, you understand. So now in developed countries, you have these people that have this total understanding. Their lives are insured. You can insure your life such that if you die, your children get the benefits up to the tune of your sum assured as you've been contributing. So it just goes to show how important it is. That is,
you can literally insure anything.
You can insure anything. Your vehicle, your house, your car, your business, your turnover and all of that. So it just shows that you're waking up, you're sleeping, everything about you from head to toe can be insured. So if you have an industry that regulates this, that collects your premium, that gives you back when anything goes wrong, it just means that as an individual, fine, everybody has their own form of religious background. Some people are Christians, some people are Muslims. I remember when I first got into the industry, I said, "Oh, Dad, come and insure this guy." I said, car has not an accident all this while. Jesus is our, you understand? Jesus is our guide and protector, you understand? But irrespective of all this, you need to still, people still need to sit down, think, keep some money aside, remit as premium, such that when anything happens, you would not suffer any financial loss. You understand? So just the thoughts of what the industry does for every human being as you grow from when you are young to when you are old should give you a great understanding of how heavy or how important the industry is. So it is a very important industry. It's a very, very important industry.
Thank you very much for that enlightening session. You mentioned that you could insure your turnover. How do you insure your turnover, your profits?
Oh, okay. Well, when I made mention of that statement, I didn't mean the profit in itself.
Okay.
So there's something called consequential loss. So, for example, if you have a business or a premise where you have goods, you have stock, and then there's a damage from fire, you understand? Now, you have insured your goods. Your insurance company has promised to reimburse you or get everything back. Now, what happens during those days where you were trying to make everything back to normal? Obviously, business would have been running as usual. You would have been making X amount of money every day. If, for example, in this studio, you were making 1 million every day and there's a fire damage. Now, you've insured the studio in itself. Now, you've also gone the extra mile to pay premium earlier on before the damage that I want to make take cover for consequential loss. That means the amount of money I would have been accruing every single day from this business, I want to insure it. So the insurance company would still go on to reimburse you on the particular amount you'd have made based on their calculations. So basically, it just means that everything you just do right from when you are small, you can take insurance policies for your children, education and endowment. You can take insurance policies for yourself on your life. You can take insurance policy on your vehicle, on your house. Every single sphere of your life can be insured.
Wow, thank you very much. So basically, insurance is more of a backup plan for everything you do and everything you have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, thank you very much for enlightening us more on that. I'm sure the teenagers and young adults watching us right now have been enlightened about your profession. On a final note, are you open to mentoring the next generation of insurance managers?
Yes, definitely. I am actually open to that. Considering how I got into the industry myself, so
mentorship.
Exactly. I have even started doing that on a very small scale. I've encouraged a couple of people around my sphere. I mean, there are so many people that look up to me normally. You understand? So I've been asking, how do I do exactly what you're doing? So in my own little sphere, I've been able to encourage a couple of people, but on a professional level, I'm actually open to mentoring people.
All right. Thank you very much. So what are your social media handles, or how can they get to reach you, your email or something?
Okay, you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook at Diolu Ajao.
Okay.
Basically, just part of my first name and my surname, Diolu Ajao. And I would respond, and I'm open to taking your requests, questions, or anything you have or concerning the industry.
That would be well appreciated. Thank you so much once again for being on the show. It was so nice having you here. We've been enlightened, greatly enlightened. Thank you so much. You can follow Divine TV on all social media platforms at Divine TV. You can also download our mobile app on Google Play Store and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more enlightening episodes of Catch Them Young and other series. I'll see you next time.